Welcome back to the channel, good lifers. I'm glad to have you along with me. I'm incredibly excited about today's project. I am finally going to be installing my big irrigation system down at the allotment. So if that's something that interests you, don't forget to hit subscribe and keep on watching. Now, if you were along with me right at the beginning of our allotment journey, you will remember the video that I did about building a mini irrigation system in our polytunnel. So as you can see, it is working nicely. These drippers seem to be a lot better than these drippers. These ones, this is as slow as it will go, and to be honest, that's way too fast. That irrigation system is working really well. The tank needs filling probably about once a week at the moment with the way we've got it set up, and it's nice and versatile, so I can keep on swapping plants in and out. And I tell you what, my tomatoes and aubergines, I've never grown aubergines in my life, but the aubergines are doing really well. And for our American friends, that's eggplant. I don't know why you call it eggplant. Why do you call it eggplant? Let me know in the comments. I don't know. But what I wanted to do was install a bigger irrigation system down at my allotment here. Now, we were planning to have 10 beds in. This year we've managed so far, I think we've got 5 in at the moment. That's probably all we're going to get at the moment. We've actually got one more that is built and ready to go. We just haven't had a chance to fill it. It's been a little bit sparse with the whole wedding situation that we had, and we've had some family stuff going on, so we've not had as much time to devote to the allotment as we were hoping, sadly. But things are beginning to calm down a little bit now, so we're hoping to develop a little bit more time. It's currently right at the beginning of July. We've just come out of quite a hot period in the UK, just kind of the middle to the end of June. It was really hot and didn't have a lot of rain. Ironically, the time I decided to install my irrigation system, there's been quite a lot of rain the past few days. So maybe we need to hire me out to countries that have got droughts, because that always seems to happen. But nevertheless, I want to install this irrigation system. I'm going to make it as flexible as possible so that I can upgrade it and move things around when we get different bits and pieces. Currently, I need to build it so that I can hook it into the mains water supply that we have down here on my allotment. But in the future, I would like to hook it up to a pump and rainwater recovery system that we have planned, but just haven't been able to get around to yet. So this system I'm going to build is going to be super flexible and fairly easy, to be honest. It is going to be made out of just standard hose piping and some different bits and pieces, which I'm going to show you now. So easy enough. We need a few of these. You'll remember these from our little video. These are big T-barbs. We're going to be using these. They are elbow barbs. These, which are end caps, you can see that here. And these, which took me ages to be able to actually find and get delivered, which are taps. These are inline taps, so you can turn them on and off, so shouldn't be that difficult. That's off, so you can see it there. And then this is on, and you have a bit of hose coming out here and a bit of hose coming out here. So the only other things that I'm going to need for this project are a pair of scissors and just a drill with the smallest drill bit that I could find on it. This, I think, is a 2mm one. I have no idea what it is in inches. No, it doesn't even say on it, sorry about that. But it's basically the smallest one in my collection. I probably would have wanted slightly smaller, but we'll see how it goes. And the last thing I can't actually show you right now, because you are currently standing on it. It is 50 metres of bog standard cheap hose piping. So my plan is to take the hose piping that we've got here, which is just bog standard normal hose piping. This fits into, this is a 16mm barb. We can see that fits on nicely. Obviously I can push it right in. And these guys are 13mm. They do fit slightly better. They're a bit easier to put on, but equally the 16mm ones work perfectly fine. And the connectors seem to be somewhere between 16 and 13mm, so that's what we're using. My plan is to get our pipe in like this and use it as a supply line, and then I'm going to drill some holes in it like this. So you can just see the hole that I've made there. And what I'm going to do is make a load of holes in the line and use it as a kind of a soaker hose, because I think that is not only a cheaper way of doing it, but it seems to be slightly more sensible than spending out a fortune on a real soaker hose. So I have 5 10 foot by 4 foot beds. Yes, I do measure in feet. It's easier when we do square foot gardening. What I'm planning to do is put 2 lines down the centre of these 2 long beds. So each bed should have 2 lines of 10 foot hose, so 20 feet of hose. Right at the end of it is going to be an end cap, and then at the other end of it is where the water is going to supply its way in. So I have actually planned this all out on my allotment plan here, and you can see that I've put in some spaces for some of the taps that we've got here, the inline taps. What I'm hoping to be able to do then is actually to turn off various beds that won't need water throughout different times of the season. So hopefully we should be able to regulate it a little bit, and maybe even just like turn it up halfway so it's slightly more regulated like that. We will see. We'll see how it works. This is a bit of an experiment, so let's get cracking. This is the big 50-metre set of hosing that I was going to show you earlier. I just got mine from, I think it was Amazon. I'll try and pop a little link in the description below if you want it. It wasn't too expensive. I think it was about £40, which was pretty good, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to using that. Cheap one's better because it's actually easier to drill into. Then we've got our T-barbs here, our elbow barbs here. These are the end caps, so they will go on the end of the hosing like that. So they'll basically be in the hosing like that, and they'll stop the water coming out. And then we've got our inline taps here, pair of scissors and a drill. So this project should be nice and easy to complete. So if anyone's wondering why we've been a little bit lax on the video situation recently, to be honest, it's been a really busy time with life and family and various other bits and pieces. That and this, that used to be my office. I think I need a new office. Mine appears to have collapsed. I put my gazebo down here a few months ago so that I could actually work down here in the summer, which is what I wanted to be doing at the moment. So I could work, film videos, do all my bits and pieces, and yeah, it didn't survive the storm. But never mind, we've got another one on order, so hopefully it should arrive soon, and I should be back down here to doing some more videos. I've also got really excited, just while I'm here, I might as well show you this. That is an apple tree that we were given by our lovely allotment friend for our wedding that we've just had last month. So I absolutely love it. It's adorable. I finally managed to repot it. Hopefully it should stop falling over now. And I'm going to make sure that we've got enough provision so that this guy can get some water as well as everything else. Right, with that now catch up, let's go and build this irrigation system. So it's been a few months since you last saw the place, and I'd like to introduce you to our allotment as it stands at the moment. As I said, we had about a month off while we were getting married and doing all those bits and pieces, so it's taken us a bit longer to get things installed like we'd like them. But before I install the irrigation system, I'll take you on a little tour so you can see what we've got. So this bed, there's nothing currently growing in this bit. That's a lie actually. There are 2 cabbages that are hanging on for dear life, growing over there. We've got some garlic and onions in this bit. We've got some peas coming up here, they're doing quite well. We've had loads of peas off of these bushes, but they look like they're kind of finishing off at the moment. We've got some onions and some garlic in this bed here. I've taken everything out of this bed over there, so I've got to replant that soon. This bed, we have got leeks in here, carrots, most of which didn't germinate at all. We've got some more carrots here, and we've got loads of broad beans or fava beans. We've really been inundated this year. It's the first time I've grown really good broad beans. I'm well proud. Over here, this bed, I've got some brassicas. I believe this is broccoli. I can't actually remember. There is a little thingy right there. They'll be able to tell you. I'll put it in the comments. We've got some courgette plants here, some cucumber plants here, and they're going to hopefully climb up of these shelving bits here. And we've got some cut and come again lettuce over here. We've got some celery up growing here, and some spinach propping up just here. This is hopefully going to be the corn. It does look a bit tiny at the moment, slightly worrying. And then over here we've got some cauliflower. I'm not the biggest fan of cauliflower, but G loves it, so I told him I'd try and grow it. It's actually not doing too bad. I'm well impressed. We've got some beetroot, loads of weeds. I need to sort this bit out. got some beetroot here. Oh, feed that over. This is some parsnips. These are parsnips that didn't actually germinate, so that's great. These are beans. There's a mixture of like normal beans and dwarf beans in here, so I only put this little structure in very temporarily the other day, so hopefully it's gonna take off. And then here we have some lettuce. This one looks like it needs picking today because it is about to bolt. Look at that, that's quite impressive. And we've got Lola Rossa lettuce, and I can't remember what the other one is, but it does taste very nice. G's been having it in his lunch boxes. This is me being really messy, I've not tidied up. And then just in here I've got 2 boxes full where I just kind of shoved in some spare tomato plants, so I'm quite proud of that. Other than that, as you can see, the allotment is looking slightly overgrown. This is our other bed that we do actually have installed and ready to go. I just haven't put the compost in and actually started planting it yet because, you know, busy life. So I'll take you for a little wander down the allotment. It's actually quite impressive seeing this ground that we've got here, because when we took the allotment over, it was covered with weed control fabric and it just kills the soil, and I'm going to show you why. So here, where we've kind of let it go a bit wild, it's really nice because there's actually loads of stuff growing. Okay, it's weeds and it's grass, and at some point we're going to have to deal with that, but currently it's actually doing the soil a lot of good. This area here, you can see, we've literally just taken the weed control fabric off of it, and I'm going to switch around in a minute and show you just how bad it is for the soil. So you can see the difference here. This is the stuff that we took off ages ago, and we've kind of just let it go back again. So we want to try and get some moisture into the soil and get it looking and feeling a bit healthier. This is the brand newly removed stuff, and as you can see, it is just barren and it's really, really dry. Whereas this stuff here, which has had a bit more time to get back to living its best life, as it were, that's looking a lot better. So as annoying as it is, we're going to actually let a lot of these weeds, especially these guys over here, which we haven't done anything with this lot yet, but we're actually going to let a lot of these weeds just keep going as much as possible. We're going to trim them down a bit, but we're going to keep the roots growing so that actually it's going to help feed the soil a bit more. So that's the plan anyway. Another thing I am super, super proud of is our wildlife pond. It is looking so pretty. Unfortunately, my little solar fountain has given up. It died quite rapidly, but I'm hoping to get another one soon. Just finances. But it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to switch around now and show you some of the flowers that are growing, because it's actually one of my favourite bits of the allotment now, because it's lovely and peaceful and I can see all the bugs enjoying it and all the pollinators. So I'm really, really proud of it. Stands to reason that as soon as I switch it around, I can see that we have a little bramble friend growing out here. G's going to have to sort that out at the weekend for me. That's one of his jobs. So we've got loads and loads of flowers, and actually if I move just over here, you can see some little friends thoroughly enjoying the flowers, which is exactly what we were hoping. Just seems like every single bit of the pond just has a whole different variety of colours. There's some lovely orange bits all the way over here. That side's kind of really blue. This side's kind of a bluey purple white mixture. It wasn't done intentionally at all. You can see from the video that I just kind of dumped the flowers in wherever they would go. But oh, it's looking so pretty. I would really like to get a fountain back in here just so we get some of the movement here with the water, but that's a job for another time. It's still looking good. Really proud of it. Looks like as well we have something here waiting to come out. This should hopefully come out in the next few days by the look of it, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. Okay, that's enough of the allotment tour. So what I think I'm going to start doing now is laying out the hosing where I want it to be, because once I've laid it out I can then attach all of the different bits and pieces to it. So let's do that together. So this hosing is just a cheap one that I got from, I think it was Amazon. I'm using it in two ways. So I'm going to have a soaker hose, which is going to be on the beds, and a supply line, which is going to be down the middle, which you're going to see in a minute. So right now I'm just kind of organising the soaker hose bits for the bed. I probably should have drilled the holes in first. That would have made a lot more sense, but I never quite do things the way that you should do them. It was actually very easy working with this hose. It was easy to cut and easy to drill in the end. I will say that because it is a bit of a cheapy kind of hose pipe, it does kink very easily, but at the same score that's not really going to be a problem for us, because eventually we are going to actually hold it down properly onto the beds. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a couple of hoses for each one of the beds, and if I take you down here, this is effectively how I'm going to lay it out. Obviously I'm going to put it underneath those plants, but I want to lay out two hoses along the lengthways of each bed, because I think that's going to be probably the most efficient way of doing it. So let's see about getting the rest of these beds laid out. This was actually quite an easy task to do, to be honest. Again, in second thoughts, I probably should have drilled the holes into the hose first, but that's okay. I can always go back and do that later. I've left enough hose kind of at the ends of the beds to make it just that little bit easier to kind of manoeuvre around later on. I don't really want it down properly solid at the moment. I think at some point later on, possibly in the winter, we will kind of actually put some clips into the hose to kind of keep it still and keep it on the beds, but for the minute we're just going to kind of see how it goes. I'm actually really impressed with how this turned out. You get to see it in a few minutes, which is really cool. It worked so well. I was very, very, very pleased with it. Having this hose system in as well just means that we can get that water in when we need to, and this system can grow with us as well. So when we add the other 5 beds that we're planning to put in, we can literally just do exactly the same thing again and add another few beds. Okay, so the soaker hoses are in. I've not drilled holes in these ones yet. I'm going to do that in a minute, which is kind of why I've not bothered to tuck it under that bit and that bit, because I need to drill the holes in it first to make it a soaker hose. Now the next bit I need to consider is the fact that I need to get water to all these beds. Now we've got the 1-2 beds here. We've got 1, 2, 3. This one is going to be a false, but it's not there yet, and it won't be there probably this summer. As you can just about see, we've got another one up here. And we're going to have another 1, 2, and then eventually 3 to match up with this one. So we'll have 10 in all. Now, if I just run one line down the middle, that's not going to be very good for water pressure. So what I'm actually going to do is run 2 lines down, and then hopefully these end bits here, we can take it off of that line, and we can take these bits off of that line too, and then each one can have its own line. That means that we can expand later on to come in and to do the beds that will be here that are currently just growing weeds. So yeah, I'm gonna lay those lines now and see how we go. There is actually a proper science-y maths way of figuring out the water pressure, but that's unfortunately beyond my skills, I'm afraid. So the next bit's kind of an exciting bit. We need to get some water down to these beds. So I need to pop in some supply line onto this bit and some supply line onto this bit, which is going down here. And then I'm going to pop some taps on so that I can turn them off independently. This is the exciting bit because it starts to actually come together. So really, really, really cool. So it's probably just a little bit easier to see here. This is our hose coming into the 2 beds across the edge of the allotment. So this one is going to come up to here, and I'm going to use a T-barb to go up to this one and then across to that one there. So I've got to find a little bit of hose to go in between there, And I'm going to pop another T-barb in here so that we've got a hose going up to here. Now what I also want to do is put a tap about here so that I can turn this bed off. And then also a tap in here somewhere so that I can turn this bed off as well. So that's what I'm going to hopefully do now. So one of the main things I wanted for these beds was to make sure that I could independently turn them on and off. So that's why I actually need to move that tap so that it turns that bed off rather than turns both of those beds off. This is me just trying to put those joiners on. It would be a lot easier if I had made the ends warm like I did with the greenhouse irrigation system. That would have made them a lot easier to put on, but they're on now. So my garlic and onions bed now actually set up. I've got my corner bit here. I've got the tap on it here so that I can try and regulate it a little bit down here. And as you can see, the pipes are going all the way to the end there. What I am actually going to do now is I'm going to very quickly drill some holes in our, what I'm going to call my soaker hoses. And then I'm going to test it just to make sure that it's all working, which it should be. And then once I've got it working, I'm going to hook up the rest. Drilling the holes in the hose was actually really easy. It was easier than I thought it was. I think that size drill bit will actually be okay given that we've now tested it. I wasn't being too kind of planned about where I was putting the holes. I wanted them fairly random. As you'll see in the video in a minute when we actually get it working a little bit, one of them I think I've put on top a little bit too much. So that's a little bit of learning for when I actually finish off doing this later, is that the holes I'm going to drill, I'm not going to put them directly on top of the hose. So more kind of to the sides of the hose seems to work out a bit better. But yeah, this actually works out amazingly well. So I'm really, really proud of it. And it was cheaper than buying, you know, many feet of soaker hose, of proper porous soaker hose. So I'm happy with it. In true lack of planning point for me, I've actually managed to forget my hose joiner. So I don't actually have enough hose to take it from the water point to my allotment here without using a hose joiner, and I've already got one on it which is needed. So I do need to get another one before I can fully test this. But what I am going to do is attempt to kind of fudge a test just to see how it works. Here we go. I forgot my hose joining, so we're fudging it. That is actually bloody amazing. Didn't actually know if it would work. What a trust. So as you can see, although it's not turned on, you can actually see the water coming out of the holes that we made. So this makes a really good soaker hose. I'm well impressed with it, especially for how cheap it has been to build. So that is it from me today, friends. I am going to carry on building the rest of this irrigation system. Even though I forgot my hose joiner and it was a bit of a fudge job to get it working, I'm actually really impressed with how well it's worked. So that kind of goes to prove my point. We don't need to buy expensive soaker hoses. We can just use a bog standard cheap garden hose, drill a few holes in it, and it works perfectly. I will obviously be keeping you a little bit more updated. Check out our Instagram page for that. Right now I am probably going to go home because it's actually past my dinner time, and I will come back another day, hopefully Friday if it's not raining, ironically, and get the rest of this all hooked up. I'm so excited. Look how wonderful it's looking already. So, super excited. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been lovely to have you along. I'm still quite new to this, and to be honest, I still feel like a bit of a twit doing it. So if you'd like to show me some love and hit like, drop a little comment in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate it. And so would G, who is currently at home, hopefully cooking my dinner. I will see you in the next video. Bye!